and welcome to this week's Tea with Fee. I'm Fee. This is Make It So HQ. Grab yourself a cup of something and let's get all caught up and start chatting about what's been happening in the last week or two. Because obviously, if you haven't already noticed, there was no Tea with Fee last week because I thought I was going to be really clever and surprise you all by doing a live Tea with Fee because I had reached my magic number of 50 subscribers and then it didn't work. So, and it was too late to do anything about it. So I just kind of graciously accepted that there was going to be no Tea with Fee last week and just dealt with it. So I still don't know exactly why it didn't work. It's still not working now. I think it could be something to do with how often YouTube refreshes and reviews all the pages. So I'm going with that option and I'm just going to chip away, do recording them. Because my plan is to record them anyway. However, if in a situation where that's not happened, it would be really lovely to know that I have that backup plan. I've just been able to go live, which I don't at the minute. So we're just going to chip away and see what happens. So anyway, grab yourself a drink and let's get caught up with the goings on. Okay, so following last week, you might have seen on my social media that I made a blind for the Make It So studio, aka spare room, aka the office. And I made it out of, now these are the smallest little fabric pieces that you will ever see, but it was made out of these two fabrics. Now, you're probably wondering why I've got these two tiny little bit of fabrics and this one's got this ironed on the back of it. Well, the reason for that is I need to update my planner with what I've made. So I need to, I'm not going to do it whilst we're on the chat, I'll do it afterwards, but I thought whilst I was down here, I thought, right, I'll need to put these in my planner, and I like to do like a little swatch of the fabric that I've used. I've not got any in this book because I've not done, it's March and I've nearly over halfway through March and I've not done that many things really already, which will lead me on nicely to Betty the Blue Lady. But anyway, so these need to get added. So onto the next new page, which will be page 12. And then there's a section here which says sample swatches. So they will be going in there like that. And I'll write down in the book the brand and everything of the fabric. And in this case, it was Lewis and Irene fabric. So that's on my to-do list for later. And I've just put the fabric in the book to remind me. Now, Blue Lady, Betty the Blue Lady, drum roll. The crosses are all done. I feel like I need confetti and all sorts of things. Anyway, the Blue Lady's crosses are all done. So it was this little section here that I was working on and it is now finished. And you might be able to see that I have started the outline round the sewing machine, which is looking pretty good. I started down here and then I referred to my cross stitch guru, aka Corin Brown, and she suggested start from the middle and work out. So that's what I did. So I stopped doing this leg down here, and then I went back to the middle. What I am finding though is the colour for this outline is very similar to the actual crosses, so it's really difficult to find out where you need to go. So that's coming along nicely. Realistically, how long is it going to take me to finish though? End April? I think that's probably fairly realistic. That's maybe about 6 weeks. So we'll see how we got on. I will keep you posted on progress. So yeah, so that's my current work in progress, which has been the same work in progress all year practically. Obviously, as I mentioned a minute ago, I have deviated from that plan and made a blind for the spare room because I needed a blind for the spare room. So it wasn't like oh, let's go make something new. It was more of a, actually, let's see if we can make a blind using all stuff that we've got in the house, which is what I did try, which I achieved. And interestingly, the plan was I had started to record making the blind, because I was going to do that as a video for Tea with Fee. But then I got interrupted because somebody popped in to chat and was chatting to me. And then it was kind of like I was still doing as I was talking. So then I hadn't captured that middle bit of the process. So unfortunately that didn't happen. But if anybody wants to know how I made it, then let me know, and I can explain to you what I did. So yeah, that was the blind. I don't know what I'm going to do after this. I can't really see beyond it at the minute, other than next month's box pattern, which will need to get made up, but that's work as opposed to pleasure. This month's boxes are all ready to go. The pattern is written. The boxes are getting posted this week, and the video is in the process of getting editing, and then that will be available for the 1st of the month. So for all of the people that are in the membership, you can look forward to pattern release day with the video hopefully on the same day, on the 1st of April. The other thing that I also realised this week was, now quite a lot of you will know that I am a big planner lover, and I want to talk to you now about my planner. Okay, so I love a planner, right? And I know it's not really sewing related, but it is work related. And I love a planner, and I actually, as you know, quite like a bullet journal, because all the shop bought ones don't seem to have the right format for me. So I, for the last couple of years, have been doing my own, and within that I have varied the way that I do it and keep going back to, I quite like a week to view, and I like it broken down by half an hour, and I can then see where the gaps are in my schedule. So I have been reading, I like a self-help book as well, in case you didn't know. So I've just been reading not Atomic Habits, that's next, although I have read that before, and I am going to read it again because it was very good. However, I have just read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and one of the things that he mentions in the book, and also in some of the podcasts that he does, is about having your foundational schedule. So for me, my foundational schedule are my sewing lessons, which are in and cannot be moved. They are like fixed and firm. And I have to manually write them into my schedule every week, because I do a paper like week to view page spread once a week. Sometimes I do a couple at a time. So it's quite time consuming, and it's very repetitive because you're just putting the same stuff in all the time. And I have tried the calendar on my phone quite a few times. And I kind of dip in and out of that, and then it doesn't work for me, and then it does work for me. Anyway, I'm back on the online calendar. I don't particularly like the Apple built-in one. I've kind of gone for the Google one because it's got better colour choices, because I like a bit of colour coding. So my paper calendar is colour coded per person or per thing. So like Make It Sew's got its own colour, but my personal stuff's got a different colour, that kind of thing. So at least with the Google Calendar, you've got the choice of colouring things in, so you can see at a glance whose task it is or whose job it is. So I tried to convert myself over to that so that I can then take some time out of the week for making up the planner, and then I can just do some journaling and stuff instead if I want the creative side of it. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to get to is, sorry it's taking me so long, is I was able to use it to its advantage today already, and I only really seriously started thinking about using it yesterday. I spent 2 hours this morning, which a lot of people would say is not a good use of my time, updating my calendar online so it's recurring, all the recurring tasks are in there. And also what I was finding with my paper calendar was I didn't have that high level look. So if I've got to make the box design, research the box pattern, make the actual project, write the pattern, order the stuff, make the boxes up, record it, edit it, and have all of that done in every month on a monthly basis, I was struggling to work out where to do that. So because I've gone higher level, I've actually been able to look at my calendar and go, right, actually I'm going to do those tasks at those times and put them all in. So I'm quite excited about how organised I am. And I like to think I'm a fairly organised person, but I'm actually really quite impressed by how it looks. It looks pretty scary though, but it's not actually any scarier than the paper version. But what found really useful today was, I was meant to have a meeting at 1 o'clock today and it was cancelled because of illness and needed to be rescheduled. And all I needed to do was click on the event on my calendar and just slide it to the new slot. And I had actually, and then this was the other added bonus. So I had already put into my calendar to view, right, well actually I want to do record Tea with Fee at this time and I'm going to edit it at this time. So the proposed new time was to have the meeting was when I was going to record Tea with Fee. And I thought, oh, well that's easy, I'll just swap the two round. So instead of now having 1 till 3 today as, but should have been a meeting that was suddenly cancelled, I thought, right, well I'll just switch it round and I'll record Tea with Fee in that slot instead of in the original slot. So I was just literally able to go like this with my finger, switch it, instead of thinking, I'm going to have to put stickers over that in my planner to hide it. And I mean, that would be okay. But it just was actually a really split second, 2-minute thing to just switch it out. So I was suitably impressed by that. And the next time that I'm complaining about it, and I'm not saying that I'm getting rid of the paper planner altogether. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with that yet. But the next time I start to think that this isn't working for me, the online thing, I need to remember this moment where actually how easy was that. But anyway, so yeah, so I just thought I would share that little bit with you. And if anybody's interested, read The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, because it was really interesting. I've been struggling to get myself out of bed at a half decent time in the morning since Lucas started going to college. So we're not having to get up for school every day, which was basically my reason for getting out of bed, was to do the whole morning get to school routine. But because he's at college now, we don't need to do that. And my first appointment is 9:30 at the earliest. In theory, I could get up at 9 o'clock and fling myself together to be ready for 9:30. But having read this book, I'm actually consistently getting up significantly earlier, which was a real struggle before because I had tried. So if you're somebody that struggles to get out of bed in the morning, or would like to get up earlier to be more productive, then I would definitely recommend reading that book. So there you go. So the other thing that I wanted to do today, whilst we're together, is I thought we would make something today. And it's inspired by my lovely friend Elaine. So Elaine, if you're watching, I just wanted to tell you that you inspired me. Well, you inspire me anyway, but you've inspired today's sewing make. And before I show you what it is, I wonder if Elaine knows what it is already. I'm sure she does. But what we are going to make today is a really cute tissue pouch. So this is what we're going to make to hold your tissues. So we'll get set up and then I will just talk you through how to make it. Okay, so let's do that now. Right, so you need 2 fabrics. It's really clever the way this is made, because this looks like binding, but it's actually the inside fabric, which has just been cut a bit longer and stitched over to create this binding effect. So it's quite clever. So if you want to make one of these, what you will need are 2 different bits of fabric. The outside fabric is the 6.5 inch square, and the inside fabric is 6.5 by, hang on, I wrote it down. Hang on. 8.5. 6.5 by 8.5. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your 6.5 inch edges of your lining fabric and you're going to stitch them to the main outside fabric like this. Okay, so as you can see here, it's bigger, the lining is much bigger, so you're going to stitch this side and then you're then going to move this fabric down like this and then stitch this side. So I'm going to change the camera around, hopefully, and you can watch me do that. Right, so we are good to go. I've lost my 2 bits of fabric. Oh, here they are. So I've got a relatively tidy workspace. I like to have a tidy workspace because it means that there's nothing that shouldn't be here. Because sometimes if you've got different projects on the go, you can suddenly get them mixed up and that gets a bit confusing. So I like to have the bare minimum stuff on my desk, which isn't easy if you're videoing stuff because I've got the other things we were talking about to one side which you can't see. But as far as you're concerned, I have a tidy workspace, and I appreciate that I'm kind of in this top corner, but it's the only way that I can get the 2 bits in with the tech that I currently have. So we're just going to have to make do with what we've got. So these are my 2 pieces of fabric, right sides together, and we are going to pin and sew, or just sew depending on what you think. I'm going to go with a 1/4 inch seam. I'm using a new machine, so this could, I'm just learning. Well, it's not new to me, it's just I'm trying it out. So I'm not quite sure what I'm doing with it yet, really, so it could all go horribly wrong. And I don't know how noisy that is, so I'm really sorry if it's really noisy. But so far I am really liking this machine. It's a Bernina B570 Quilters edition. And so far I'm liking it. So that's me stitched one side. Now, as I said before, the outside is shorter than the inside. So we're now going to take these 2 sides and we're going to sew them together. Making sure that they are level. And it's got like this fancy little thing that it does. If you, so the foot pedal's like this, and this is the top which has got the most bend. So you push that to go fast and slow, but on this end you can actually press it down and it goes back a little bit, and it actually can cut your thread and things for you. But I just cannot get my foot in the right position for it to work with, and because I've got a wheelie chair, when I push on it I kind of slide back from the machine. So so far that's not working too well for me. So now what you're going to do is you're going to turn it inside out, and then you'll be able to see that we've now got a purple bit on each side. So I'm going to go and press that. You don't need to watch me do that, but I'm going to go and press it, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I have pressed my fabric and I now have a purple bit down each side. So now what we need to do is cut off these edges for a start. I got a fright then. The wind caught the water butt and blew it. Sorry, in case you wondered what the noise was. Right, so we've now got our 2 edges, it's pressed. So now what we need to do is we need to basically sew it together. And to sew it together, we're going to do right sides together. I'm going to put a picture up as well, up there, so that you can see easier what I'm going to do. But it's right sides together. And you're going, and these 2 outside edges need to overlap. So you can see in the finished one that they're stitched on top of each other, so that's what we're trying to do. So you're going to fold it in half, right sides together. Like that. And put a pin in there. And you might have noticed that I haven't really talked about what all my sews have been up to this week, because I don't want to miss anybody out. And depending on when I record it, I've not seen everybody. So I don't want to like be singing the praises of somebody and somebody else think that that means that I'm not singing their praises, but it's just because I haven't seen them. So I've kind of just not mentioned them this week. And also it makes it a bit harder in terms of trying to get it recorded for you. I would need to be recording at the end of the week once I've seen everybody, and there's less time in the end of the week in my schedule to edit it and get it up in time. So whether I need to shift it, I don't know. Anyway, but I think I talked about that before. So anyway, so we have got this stitched. And for anybody that wants a handwritten or a paper version of the pattern, I'll make one and put it on my website. So all you're going to do now is you're going to stitch down each of these edges, and we're going to use 1/2 inch seam allowance. And to be honest, we probably should have used a 1/2 inch seam allowance the first time round. So I only used 1/4 inch, so it might make it a little bit loose, but we'll find out in a minute. Right, so that's one side done. So these are a really good thing to do if you are sewing for to sell at craft fairs and things, or if you want to raise money for charity, selling knitted handcrafted goods. Now the other thing that to finish this off nicely, right, so I've stitched up both ends. Now this is where I need your help. Let me move this. Okay, this is where I need your help. So I have mentioned this before, but there are disadvantages to being left-handed. One of them being I cannot find a pair of pinking shears that I can use comfortably because they all seem to have a right-handed grip. And where I'm going with this comment is Elaine has very nicely finished the inside of her seams by pinking them. However, because I'm left-handed and don't own a pair of pinking shears because I can't find a pair that work for me, I have not. And I've somehow managed to cut my finger. No idea how. I don't see any blood on anything. So as you can, so this is what it looks like if you've pinked it. I can't do that because I don't have any. But I'm going to turn this the right way round, and then we're going to put the tissues in and then see how it looks for size and do any adjusting that might be required. But it looks, on the whole, I think it looks pretty good. Now, I know I say it all the time, however, an essential thing in every sewing person's sewing bag kit should be a chopstick, because it is great for poking the corners. So I have a packet of tissues. Take them out the plastic. You might want to try it for size with in the plastic because it will be easier to slide in and out. So here is my completed, finished what are they called? Completed, finished paper hanky holder. Hanky holder. How hard is that? So it's really quite nice. It probably could do with being a little bit neater. So if I squeeze them right down to the bottom, I've got this much space. It's not too bad that way. So I think I'm going to do it a little bit smaller. Or when you do yours, do it 8 inches. With a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then you're losing 1/2 inch. So let's try. I'm going to try that now. So I'm just going to take another 1/4 inch off each side. I'm really liking my fabric choices, and as you can see, it doesn't use a lot of fabric at all. So if you've got scraps lying around, be quite a good thing to use for your scraps. And that thing's banged again. The one thing I'm really struggling with to get used to with this machine is it doesn't have a manual presser foot up and down. So I'm really struggling to, I keep forgetting that I need to push a button. Right, let's try that. This is probably going to be too tight now. So I've now got 2 rows of stitching. So if it fits, I'll just trim off this bit that's excess, but we'll try it first. So I just thought it was something quick and easy to make together. And hopefully you'll give it a try. I would love to hear from you if anybody makes them. If you make them, are you going to sell them? Are you going to gift them to people? It might be a nice Easter gift if anybody does Easter gifts. It's probably a bit, it's too late for Mother's Day. Probably should have thought about that. But never mind. Fab. Right, that's a better fit. Right, hang on. I'm coming. There we go. That's better. Right, so we have one finished hanky holder. So I just thought it would be something quick and easy for us to do together. So I hope you enjoyed this video, Tea with Fee. Have a fabulous weekend, everybody. No idea what anybody is doing. No idea what I'm doing, to be honest. What I would say is, let me check. I can't check my electronic calendar because it's on my phone. So this is a good example of the backup paper calendar. So let's have a quick check. Tea with Fee is not on, not Tea with Fee, Crafternoon Tea is not on this Saturday. So if you turn up to the church this Saturday, nobody will be there. So don't go. So it's next Saturday. So for everybody that is watching this on Friday, see you next Friday. Don't go to the church on Saturday because there will be nobody there. If you're interested in Crafternoon Tea, then please feel free to pop along. Crafternoon Tea meet at Union Mills Methodist Church every Thursday from 1 till 3. And we also meet every other Saturday, most of the time, every other Saturday, 10 till 12. And basically it's bring along your handcraft, have a cup of tea, biscuit, and a chat with like-minded people. And we would love to see you there. So that's at the minute, that is the only place that my cross stitch is getting done. So I need to make sure that I attend the next one so that I can move forward. So yeah, so we would love to see you there. The other thing that I would say as well is if you are interested in sewing lessons, then drop me a line. And obviously if you live in the Isle of Man, at the minute I don't do online sewing lessons, but who knows, that might be a thing in the future. And also I do monthly project boxes that can get posted to your house. So if you don't have time to go and do some shopping for a sewing project, but you would really like to get back into your sewing hobby, but you just don't have the time in the day to go to the shops to buy the stuff, then I can solve that problem for you. So I can literally send you a project to your house, and it's got everything that you need to make the project, and all you literally need to do is go and put the kettle on. There's even a tea bag in there, so you literally just need to put the kettle on, switch your sewing machine on, and just go and hide away for a couple of hours. So if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, then check out my website for the previous box patterns, or you can get a mystery box, which is basically whatever this month's box pattern is going to be. And then the following month, that pattern is then uploaded and available to buy as a standalone pattern. So that's how the whole process works. So yeah, so if you want to get back into sewing but just don't have the time to go shopping for all your sewing supplies, then I could solve that problem for you. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a fabulous weekend. I know I've said that already. And I look forward to speaking to you all again next week. And if there's anything that you want me to make, put some comments in for me so that I can see things that you would be interested in me discussing on Tea with Fee, whether it be showing you how to make something, showing you how to do a technique, or if you want me to recommend any products or something along those lines, if it's like what needles do you use or that kind of thing, then drop me a line below and we will take it from there. So thanks very much for watching. Bye.